ジオ日本 NHK の国際放送です。次の短波での日本語放送は日本時間の午前0時からです。午前0時からの日本語放送は東南アジア向けの 11.815MHz、 繰り返します。午前0時からの日本語放送は東南アジア向けの 11.815MHz 以上の周波数でお伝えします。こちらは NHK ワールドラジオ日本 NHK の国際放送です。
Welcome back to NHK NEWSLINE, I'm Kanako Sakno. Top officials from Japan's Ground Self-Defense Force, the U.S. Army Pacific and the Philippine Army say they'll work together to maintain stability in the Indo-Pacific region. They held their first senior meeting on Sunday at the Self-Defense Forces Camp Asaka.
Strengthening the ties among the three countries will become a greater force against any attempt to change the region's status quo. It will also help to maintain international order based on the rule of law.
General Charles Flynn, the commander of the U.S. Army Pacific, said joint training and preparation by multiple allies are needed under the current security environment. Army's Lieutenant General Romeo Brawner Jr. said the three nations will further deepen their cooperation to deal with immediate challenges and issues. Senior Philippine military officials have been observing some of the joint drills held by the GSDF and the U.S. military in Japan. The exercises assumed a scenario of defending remote islands. The policy chief of Japan's main ruling Liberal Democratic Party has called for closer coordination among Japan, Taiwan and the United States as China steps up military pressure on Taiwan. Hagiuda Koichi made the comments at a gathering in Taiwan on Sunday. Hagiuda referred to remarks by the late Prime Minister Abe Shinzo that a conflict involving Taiwan is a concern for Japan and Tokyo's alliance with Washington.
Japan will drastically strengthen its defense capabilities within 5 years, keeping in mind the budget of 2% or more of the GDP, which is the same level as NATO countries.
Prime Minister Kishida Fumio aims to raise the annual defense spending to 2% of GDP in the fiscal year starting in April 2027. The LDP executive said members of his party are discussing how to secure stable revenue sources, including through taxes. But he said using funds earmarked for government bond redemption could also be an option. Kishida has told the ruling coalition lawmakers to consider raising taxes to cover the increase in defense spending. But some LDP members expressed opposition to the tax hike. More products from Taiwan have been temporarily halted at Chinese customs. Taiwanese authorities claim China's import procedures lack transparency and Taiwan is being treated unfairly. Taiwan officials say the latest move covers fishery products as well as beers and soft drinks. China has blocked imports of around 2,400 Taiwanese products as of Saturday. They amount to over 70% of Taiwan's food and beverage items. In April last year, Chinese customs authorities implemented a new rule. It requires foreign food companies to register information again about their locations and products. China set the deadline for Taiwanese companies earlier than for others. A tweet from Taiwan's Foreign Minister Joseph Wu on Saturday called the move economic coercion. China's Taiwan Affairs spokesperson Zhu Fenglian said the affected Taiwanese companies had not properly registered and Taiwan should stop any political manipulation. A Japanese venture firm's spacecraft is on its way to the moon. The world's first privately funded lunar lander was launched from the state of Florida on Sunday.
3, 2, 1, ignition, liftoff.
About 47 minutes after liftoff, the uncrewed lander was successfully separated from the SpaceX rocket. The blastoff of the Hakuto R mission had been postponed for about a month for additional inspections. Tokyo-based startup iSpace developed the M1 lander that's expected to touch down on the moon at the end of April next year, after traveling about 380,000 kilometers. The lander is carrying small robots developed by the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency and other entities. International competition in the field of space development has been intensifying, with projects such as the US-led Artemis lunar exploration program. Delegates from around the world have ended 2 days of talks on nuclear disarmament in the atomic bomb city of Hiroshima.
An atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima at 8:15 a.m. on that day.
On the second day of the event, the delegates visited the Peace Memorial Museum. Japanese Prime Minister Kishida Fumio attended the closing session on Sunday. He called on the participants to try to bring about a world without nuclear weapons.
We hope to deepen discussions so we can send a strong message toward a world without nuclear weapons at next year's G7 summit in Hiroshima.
The forum was chaired by Shiraishi Takashi, an expert in international politics. He said various issues were discussed during the past 2 days, including the reasons why nuclear disarmament hasn't gained momentum. Denuclearization initiatives have stalled recently. Delegates at the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty Review Conference in August failed to reach a broad consensus or adopt a joint document. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has accused Russia of striking energy infrastructure in the southern region of Odessa with Iranian drones, causing a massive blackout.
The key for today is energy. The situation in Odessa region is very difficult. After the night strike, the strike by Iranian drones, Odessa and other cities, villages of the regions are in the dark. As of this time, more than 1.5 million people in the region are without electricity. Only critical infrastructure is connected as much as it is possible to supply electricity.
Zelensky claimed that Russia had used 15 drones against Odessa over one night. He called Russia's actions bullying and an attempt to bring disaster to the city. The US government says its intelligence analysis shows that Moscow and Tehran are considering setting up a drone assembly line in Russia. US officials also say Russia may be providing Iran with helicopters and air defense systems in return for drones. Meanwhile, the BBC reported that they'd ascertained the names of about 10,000 Russian soldiers who died in the invasion. They said they worked with Russian independent media to compile names found on tombs and other sources. The BBC estimates the actual number may exceed 20,000. The Russian defense minister said in September that over 5,900 soldiers were dead. But US military officials said last month the number could be well beyond 100,000. And those were the main stories for this hour. One last story before we go. A crowd in Japan turned upside down to set a new world record on Sunday. A gymnastics school in the southwestern city of Fukuoka challenged the record for the most people simultaneously doing back handsprings.
3, 2, 1, go!
The attempt attracted 172 amateur gymnasts from as young as 5 to some in their 60s.
161で年生会議。
It was fun. I've never done this in such a big group.
I want to try with 200 people.
The gymnast topped the previous world record of 160 set in 2017. And that wraps up this edition of NHK Newsline. I'm Kaneko Sakne in Tokyo. Thanks very much for joining us.
This is NHK World Japan English Radio Service. Here is a frequency notice. The broadcast at 4:30 UTC from Monday through Friday and 5 hours UTC on Saturday and Sunday for Southern Africa is on 9.865 MHz. Once again, 9.865 MHz. The broadcast at 14 hours UTC for Southeast Asia is on 11.815 MHz. Once again, 11.815 MHz. For more details of our broadcast schedules, please check our website at nhk.jp/rj. We are always pleased to receive your comments and suggestions via mail or through our website.